Now, Wanda says she will be headed to her daughter's wedding sometime in January. Good luck, Wanda. Starting Wednesday, there will be craps and roulettes just across the street from the Louisiana State Capitol. Baton Rouge's second floating casino. The Casino Rouge has passed Coast Guard tests and undergoes its final state police exam on Tuesday. It's expected to open at 6 o'clock Wednesday evening. If you had plans on paying off some of those Christmas bills with that big jackpot in the Louisiana lottery this weekend, well, think again. Lotto officials say no one won that $7 million last night in the Pick 6 drawing. Next week's pot will be worth at least $9 million. In addition, there will be no Pick 3 tonight, so if you purchase a ticket today, it will be good for tomorrow's drawing. Well, still to come on WAFB News, the fighting in Bosnia continues during this Christmas holiday season. But first, a mother could be charged in that fire that claimed the lives of her children on Christmas Eve. That story and more when WAFB News continues. Well, it has been a tragic Christmas for one family in Baldwin, Louisiana. Now, Baldwin is located 48 miles southwest of Baton Rouge in St. Mary Parish. Authorities there have not yet decided whether to bring charges against a mother whose children died in a fire yesterday with two of their cousins. The oldest of the children, 6. Sheriff's Office official spokesman Jim Manning says the woman left a 9-year-old in charge of those children and a 7-year-old while she went home to do laundry. Manning says the fire apparently started when the children played with paper towels in a wood stove. In other news, ever thought about how many women are in Louisiana's legislature? Although there are now 2 women in the Louisiana Senate, the state came in 48 out of the 50 states in electing women to its legislature. A new national survey shows 14 out of the 144 seats in the state legislature are held by women. That's about 9.7% in the House and Senate. The study by Rutgers University shows Louisiana slightly ahead of 49th place Kentucky, where women hold 8% of the assembly seats. Alabama comes in last, while Washington State leads the nation with almost half of their legislature seats being held by women. Turning to national news now, many Bosnians have reason to celebrate this Christmas holiday. Across much of Bosnia-Herzegovina, the guns have fallen silent. Mike Hanna reports the current ceasefire has given people hope to end the war.
Songs of praise for CNN, Sarajevo.
Well, back here where we don't see as much snow, the big man in charge of weather, Mike Graham, joins us now. We've been having some great weather this holiday weekend.
Unbelievable Christmas Day weather. I hope it was as good in other respects as the weather was. It's the only question mark in an otherwise very nice week of weather upcoming.
Things are looking good up until that Wednesday.
That's about it.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Make sure you stay with us. Coming up, it's almost the end of the NFL regular season. Steve Snyder will give us the latest. The regular season of the NFL is almost over. Steve Snyder's here to tell us what we can expect tonight.
Kind of a different Sunday, not just because it's Christmas Day, but normally you have the NFL. Almost all the games were played yesterday. There's one more NFL game on. I asked Ward what he got for Christmas. He said his trip home here. He was glad to be home for 3 or 4 days to visit with his family.
He has really made a name for himself.
He sure has, and he's got more of his career ahead of him.
Stay with us. When we come back, we'll give you some sounds of the season. Millions of Christians today are celebrating the birth of Jesus. The Mormon Church Tabernacle Choir ushered in holiday with its Sunday music and spoken word. We leave you with that this afternoon. May you and your family have a Merry Christmas.
CBS, now your local news.
Just ahead on WAFB News, the hostage situation involving that Air France jet in Algeria continues to get bloodier. More hostages have been killed by the militant Muslims that have held just under 200 people against their will. And a Baton Rouge woman says all she wants for Christmas is a set of wheels. We'll tell you how a local radio station made that wish come true. Next.
Louisiana's News Channel, WAFB.
More people get their news from WAFB News than any other source.
The Russians continue their bombardment of Chechnya to crush the rebels' hope of independence. And an American becomes a casualty in the continuing battle between the Hamas and the peace process in the Gaza Strip. Good evening, I'm Isiah Carey. Well, it wasn't a peaceful Christmas in the Middle East today. The fundamentalist group Hamas is claiming responsibility for another attack in Gaza. This time, an American and 12 soldiers almost became fatalities in the continuing battle between Hamas and the Israelis. CBS News' Bob Simon has a report. If you've traveled down Laurel Street and Riverside Mall, you've probably seen it all. One building nestled between two that has become the place people shop and talk to. It's called McQuarrie's, once known as a Five and Dime. Well, now the once thriving business is out of time. The manager says in about 2 months it will close, shutting down more than just a store, but a piece of history everybody knows.
We had heard, that from some people that it was closing, but we really didn't get the word until like December the 17th.
There are employees that have been there for years who found out it's time to shed a goodbye tear.
Made me feel down. Couldn't think of nothing else.
How was it working here for all that time?
It's fine. You get to meet a lot of people you've seen for years and years. As long as I've been here, there's quite a few people I know.
Customers continue down the narrow aisles, grabbing up the last sales items in the small little piles. McQuarrie's is just like every other Five and Dime, being put out of business by a thing called time.
I talked to my GM, and he said in order for them to come out of bankruptcy, that they had to close so many stores down. And this was one of the stores that was on the list.
You think you'll miss the store?
Yeah, I know I will. I know I will.
There's still time left to go and see a landmark before its doors are locked with that final key. Maybe you can pick up a toy or a household cleaner too, all just to find a way of saying goodbye. McQuarrie's will miss you. Isiah Carey, WAFB News. Judge Bob Downing says he's a judge that wants to rehabilitate drug offenders and abusers, and that's part of the reason why he won't be the third judge of drug court.
I said if I thought I could get funding for treatment, I would go. Judge Isiah has done as good a job as you can with no funding for treatment. The prison's full, the jail's full. You have a lot of drug users that we do a good job with in the drug wing, but you don't have anybody to follow them and make sure that they're staying clean when they get out.
Downing says drug court could have received $300,000 from the National Crime Bill if the city parish would have appropriated $75,000 to match those federal dollars. $75,000 he thought was already in the budget for city parish in 1995.
We were going to have to certify to the federal government that the city parish would pick up those employees hired with crime bill money.
Well, the bigger question that remains now is whatever happened to the $75,000 reportedly promised to the drug court from city parish so that the drug court can gain that $300,000 from the crime bill. Well, the mayor said he never heard anything about it.
But that a specific grant that needed $75,000 of match money from the local government, I just don't think that's the case. I think that Judge Downing might have his information mixed up.
Wasn't it $75,000 ever on the books that you know for fact?
I think it was. It officially never was. I'm not going to call anybody a liar.
But in the meantime, drug court will continue in Baton Rouge, but under the direction of Judge Frank Saya through 1996. Isiah Carey, WAFB News. Monetary gifts to several agencies around town has left at least one local judge angry, fuming, in fact, that his court was overlooked, a court that has been trying to get funding for several months now, drug court.
I was just under the impression we had no more money, and I would like to see it spent to protect the citizens of East Baton Rouge Parish.
I'm telling him that I don't have it available for the district court system to deal with state prisoners.
Recuse says he has given district courts here in East Baton Rouge Parish more than $3 million in funding, and the judges are allowed to use the generated funds as they wish. However, the mayor says all Downing is doing is playing politics. But Downing says giving $200,000 to the Chamber of Commerce is real politics.
So if we could this year fund the drug court and next year give the money to the Chamber of Commerce, we would look better in trying to do something to lower the crime rate to attract business.
And the weather is another gray, drizzly October day. How much longer will this last?
And in our medical segment today, a new way of detecting cancer in cancer patients. And will it be a smooth transition for the democratically elected president to step back into power in Haiti? We'll have a full report just ahead.
From Baton Rouge, WAFB News is the newscast watched in more homes than all of the others combined.
A man accused of robbing a local convenience store sends 3 law enforcement agencies on an early morning chase. Good afternoon, I'm Isiah Carey. Vernon Roger has a day off. We'll have more on the police chase later in the newscast. But first in the news, still no sign of an Iraqi withdrawal, but a European news agency is reporting that Iraq is asking 2 foreign countries to verify their withdrawal. Meanwhile, President Clinton is the latest to say it. He told reporters outside the White House that there's been no change in the Iraqi deployment near Kuwait. Clinton says the United States will continue its own buildup of forces in the Persian Gulf region. The president also says he's receiving strong international support for U.S. actions in the Gulf. For the latest now, we go to Washington, D.C., where Elizabeth Callahan of CBS News has the latest.
Elizabeth Callahan, now back to you.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. We'll have more on that today at 5. In other news, a robbery suspect led local authorities on a 30-mile chase this morning. It happened just after 2 o'clock this morning near South Baton Rouge at the Circle K located at Flannery and Old Hammond. Police say the suspect allegedly stole $11 and a green Buick Regal from a person at the store. Sheriff's deputies with state and city police responded to the call. Reportedly chasing the suspect along Florida and Government Streets, the green Buick finally ran off into a grassy field at the Belmont Hotel on Airline, where security officers at the Belmont say a short foot chase followed before the suspect was finally caught. No one was reportedly injured in the chase. Authorities haven't released the identity of the suspect so far. In other news, promoters of New Orleans land-based casino will have to put up more of their own money to make the project fly. Harrah's Jazz Company is expected to do that with a new plan to boost the financial viability of the delayed plague casino. Harrah's officials will present the plan today at a meeting of the State Casino Commission. In recent months, analysts have questioned the all the rain. I'm enjoying these cool temperatures.
It is nice for a change.
Will it still be cool like that Saturday during the game?
79 degrees for a high on Saturday.
All right.
Okay.
We'll tell you about some dark caves and take you there when we come back. Stay with us. Ever been into a deep, dark cave? Well, going into those caves have become a learning experience for many. Greg Lamont takes us underground for a cave expedition. Well, still to come on our noon report, we'll tell you how a group of people who have really learned to appreciate the old saying, a dog is a man's best friend. We'll explain just ahead. A former Southern University student called it self-defense. A Baton Rouge jury called it murder.
And more than 130 people die in a fiery crash near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll bring you all the details.
Good morning. I'm Isiah Carey, filling in for Kara Finstrom this morning. Welcome to Daybreak.
Good morning on this Friday morning. I'm Diane Deaton. Currently, we have a temperature of 72 degrees, and it looks as if we're going to have a very quiet weekend weather-wise. Speaking for myself, Isaiah, I know that you're anticipating the weekend anxiously as well.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. It's been a long week, even though most folks out there had the 4-day weekend with the Labor Day, rather. It's been a long week. You were busy yesterday covering that.